Hey there, friend. Welcome to the Having a Mom Moment podcast. I am your host, Shannon Warner. This podcast is all about taking a few moments for yourself and reconnecting to the amazing woman behind the title of mom. You have so many plates spinning at any given time between your kids, your partner, your job, maintaining a household, etc., etc. But where does taking time just for you play into that? Let's spend some time together, you and me, right now. We're rebranding a mom moment to those sacred moments you take to fill your cup first. Let's connect, tune in, and tap into what makes us the incredible women that we are. We'll nurture ourselves first so we can be our best selves for those we pour into on a daily basis. We'll also bask in the beautiful wisdom of other moms to learn about the ways in which they've tapped into alignment in their own motherhood journeys. Come on, mama, it's your time. We're having a mom moment. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Having a Mom Moment podcast. I am your host, Shannon Warner, and I so appreciate you taking your time to be here today. If you listened to the previous episode, you know that I am taking a brief pause, and thank you so much for the grace and space to do so. And in the meantime, I will be sharing a few replays of previous episodes, and guest episodes will be back in February. I've got lots of great conversations ready to go, and I'm looking forward to sharing those with you in just a few weeks. Today we are going back to the very beginning, my first episode, a solo episode called Self, Spouse, and Spawn. And please listen with gentle and kind ears. It was before I had a mic. It was before I had better editing software, and I was just winging it and doing it messy, but having fun. So it has led to this beautiful experience that has become the Having a Mom Moment podcast. So I am so grateful to Shannon of May 2023 for having the courage and taking the leap. So I hope you enjoy the episode, and we'll see you next week. Hello, my friends. Welcome to episode 1. I am so happy you're here. I am so honored that you decided to spend your time with me today. It really means a lot, and I am so excited to begin this journey of the Having a Mom Moment podcast. I had the idea for having a mom moment back in 2017 when my daughter was a few months old, and I had realized that despite all your preparations for having a baby and all of the adjustments that you have to make in your life, there is not a whole lot of space out there for moms just to reconnect with themselves, make time for themselves, make time for their interests, make time for caring for themselves in a way that allows them to be fulfilled and more present, and therefore being more available for their families. So I've kind of been letting this idea ruminate for years, and life has gotten in the way, and 2023 has presented me with some additional time. So it's go time. It's time to do this. So a little about me. Like I mentioned, I had my first daughter back in 2017. So I am 6 years into my own motherhood journey. And some days I feel like I'm nailing it. And other days I feel like I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing at all. We added another baby to the mix last year in early 2022. So at the time of recording, my two kiddos are Emerson, 6, and her little sister, Everly, who is now 15 months and in the throes of teething. One thing I can say about having kids with quite the age gap, which was intentional on our part, is you forget everything about the stages and phases of infancy and toddlerhood with the first one. Enough time goes past where you forget all of those pieces that are, more challenging. The other night, for example, she decided to wake up and party for about 3 hours. So that was great. Yeah, don't remember that from the first time around. So anyway, I realized how hard, even just with having the one child, how hard it is to juggle all the things. You've got relationships outside of your home, you've got your job, you've got all the things inside your home that need to be done. It's just really hard to keep all the things going at any given time. It's nearly impossible sometimes. So I was presented with a challenge to give the podcasting a try, and here we are. It's been some uncomfortable action, but I feel like if it can serve anyone or just remind any mom to get back into the habit of taking care and taking time for themselves, then it's going to be worth it. So this first episode is a practice that we use in our house, and it has helped us immensely in being the most present and available for each other, meaning my husband and I, and for our children. This is something that we had really kind of worked on in a different way for years before we had children. And it's something that my husband kind of had to adjust to with me because of my being an only child and my need to have time for myself, because that's just the way it was growing up. It was just me. So I had a lot of time for myself. So we call this practice self, spouse, and spawn. So what does that mean? First comes self. So we believe in order to be the best versions of ourselves for each other and then for our kids, we have to take care of ourselves first. And I'm not talking about just the basic things. Obviously, basic hygiene and feeding yourself and those things are a given. You have to do those things. But what this means in practice is that you are taking time as frequently as possible. I would say each day, but I'm a realist. I know it doesn't always work every day. But you're taking time each day to fill your cup first. In this phase of life for us, what this looks like is I wake up about an hour before I need to get ready and then get my kids up each day. So in that time, I go through phases, but right now I'm really in the thick of doing a lot of yoga and meditation. So my alarm will go off around 5:15, and I know early rising isn't everyone's jam, but if you get into the practice of it, it gets easier. You know, sometimes we hit snooze a few times and it ends up closer to 5:30, 5:45, and my actual time for myself gets condensed, but it is still better than nothing. So I get up and I will throw on a YouTube yoga video. I've been doing a lot of yoga with Adrienne. She's really beginner friendly. She's really friendly to all levels. If you're interested in checking her out, I know she's got quite the following, so you may have heard of her already. I do some yoga. I often try to pick out which video I'm going to do either like in the beginning of the week or the night before, so that I'm not spending, 20 minutes trying to find the right video. And sometimes I've got the time for 30 minutes. Sometimes I have the time for a 10-minute video. But the goal is for me just to get up and get my body moving first thing. So then after I do my yoga, I'll pop a squat and I will do some meditation. So you may call it woo-woo. It may not be your jam, but if you want to try something new, give meditation a try. I know the first few times you do it, it can be like pulling teeth. Oh, that little background noise was my sweet dog Sheebs. She had to come in and make sure I was okay because I'm a little out of my routine this morning. Anyway, so give meditation a try. The first few times can be really uncomfortable, and that's okay. But it is a practice that requires practice. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. It's just really nice, especially when you have kids, to sit quietly. And I know it's hard to stay focused in the moment on just breathing, and the other things will creep into your mind about, oh, I need to do this, and oh, it's this day at school, and I have to make sure that this happens today, and oh, did I follow up on that text, or did I follow up on that email? But it's really a practice of bringing your mind back to the moment and bringing your mind back to your breath. And I found it hugely helpful. And we can dig more into meditation on another episode. But when I do these things in the morning, I am finding myself to be more present in my body. I'm finding myself to be more present in my day. I'm more present with my children, and I am a heck of a lot more patient. I think it's because of what I'm choosing to do in the morning, but also because I'm giving myself the time to wake up and giving myself the time before I need to get ready. And I'm not rushing around, and I'm just making that time to pour into myself. If I have time after I do yoga and meditation, then I will maybe journal, or I need some space and quiet to think and feel like I can speak authentically without all the things going on around me. So right now this is happening during that time, and that's okay too. So for my husband, he is what I would call a gym rat. He is in the gym 6 days a week. His time for himself happens at the ass crack of dawn. His alarm goes off shortly after 4. He's out the door at 5, and he is at the gym. And that's his time. And I'm so grateful that he finds this important for himself. I know that he feels better when he is able to spend that time each day at the gym before he has to come back and be husband and dad. And I am so appreciative that he had decided to do this before our children wake up so that I don't have to solo parent in the morning. So I realize that I'm very lucky that he has prioritized himself, but he has also done it in a way that helps me out. So what could that look like for you? There may be other times, but I think the morning is the easiest and the most effective. Personally, my opinion, if you're saying, no way, I can't wake up any earlier, it's just not going to happen for me, I get it. I don't know your situation. I don't know what you're up against. But if it's not the morning, when could it be? Could it be the end of the day? Where you put your kids to bed and maybe your spouse goes to bed. I know my husband, because he gets up earlier, would like to go to bed earlier than me. Maybe it's then. My only critique of that choice of time would be that it would be very easy at the end of the day just to say, screw it, I'm going to bed, I'm exhausted, I'm not doing this. So just be mindful of that if you decide that the end of the day is your time for whatever your time is, because you deserve it. And yes, you deserve to be rested too. So if you can't balance those things, then maybe find another time. We're starting small, and 20 minutes is better than 0 minutes. Okay. So as you are implementing this, if you decide to try it, I encourage you to talk to your partner or your spouse and see what they can do. What do they need, and how can they build it into their schedule and into your schedule, because it will impact you as well, especially when you've got the kids in the mix. If lunchtime isn't an option for you, or maybe you've got other things that you squeeze. I know as a mom, sometimes the errands are easier to run on your lunch break without children. I get it. Is there a time where you can maybe drop your kids off early for daycare or pick them up late, where you squeeze in a few minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, between the end of your workday and the time that you pick them up? Or maybe you've got school age kids, so that window, of time where they're away from you is smaller. And if you don't have before and after school care, could a grandparent, could a neighbor, could a friend be available for your children for 30 minutes where you can just squeeze in some time for you? Another time that I have found in our week where I could build some of this me time in is my 6-year-old is in dance, and she's old enough now where you can just drop her off and leave. And for a while I sat in the parking lot, which is cool. That's fine. Or there's a great little park nearby that now that it's spring and the weather's warming up, I could drive over there very quickly. It's just a couple minutes away, and I could pop out and walk for a bit and then come back in time to pick her up. So you may have to get creative with your day and go, where could I do this? Where could I find a few minutes for me alone to take care of myself and my needs? And I bet if you are willing to really scrutinize your schedule and find where you may have some time leaks, we'll call them. Oh, I don't have time, but I do realize I spend 45 minutes a day on my phone scrolling TikTok or Instagram or whatever. Is there a way where you could better utilize time like that in order to implement this self-spouse spawn theory? Okay, so I encourage you to do that. Kind of look at your day, look at your week. Where could you fit this in so that you are then more available for those people in your lives? Okay, we cannot pour from an empty cup, and that is the whole purpose of this podcast. We are done with the martyrdom of motherhood. Okay, we cannot always control our circumstances. We can't control that we have to work. We can't control the hours that our kids have to go to school, or the hours that daycare is open, or, all of our responsibilities. I know we can't ignore those, but we can't ignore our own needs either. We have to take care of ourselves. Okay, we have to, period. The end of story. We have to. All right. After self is spouse. So I know also it can be so tricky to, carve out date nights. Maybe you don't have childcare, you don't have sitter, you don't have someone to watch your kids. But we have to prioritize our relationship with our partner to be the best parents, in my opinion. If you want to be a united front with your partner, your spouse, your husband, you guys have to be on the same page. You have to find time to connect. You have to find time to nurture your relationship. So for us, we occasionally have grandparent childcare available. Right now that we have 2 kids, it looks a lot like one child gets taken for maybe an overnight, and we're left with the baby, which is fine. I get that. Babies are handfuls, especially now that she's technically a toddler and walking. So it's a lot for an older parent. I get that. So I say this to tell you I get it, that we don't always have childcare available for whatever reasons. Maybe we don't have a village nearby. Maybe we don't know anybody in our area. Maybe our parents aren't available for whatever reason. I get that. So we have to get creative again. All right. You have to become so resourceful as a parent. So I know you can find some time where you can connect with your spouse. For my husband and I, a lot of times it looks like on our lunch break, we'll coordinate our lunch times and we'll go do something together. Sometimes it's just running an errand, but even just having a few moments in the car without the children, yelling in the back as they tend to do is nice. We were trying to get in the habit of once a month taking a lunch together and going to a nearby restaurant and calling it like our lunch date. And it's nice when you carve out the time, you set the date, you put it on the calendar. It feels more special than just, we both work remotely and our lunches overlap. We're in the house at the same time, taking up space together, but not really connecting. So just like with your own time, you may need to get creative and find out where this is, and it might not happen outside of your home, but maybe it's you put your kids to bed and on Wednesday nights, you guys, have a drink together and sit on the couch together, not on your phones, and talk or watch your favorite show or whatever, but get really intentional with it. Okay. And then protect that time. Just like you would protect your marriage, protect that time because it is that important. And it's easy, to implement one and maybe not both. And it's not perfect. It's not a perfect system and it's not going to look the same every week. And I'm not saying that it has to happen, super frequently, but you need to prioritize each other after you are taking care of yourself, so that you've got that solid foundation and so that you can really check in with one another. And then so that you can be like a united front as a parental unit for your kids. And this, I think, has been our most impactful strategy in parenting, is being connected and being a united front and being a strong foundation for our kids. So then after self, after spouse comes your beautiful spawn, your children. They do come last in this equation. And I know that it goes against the grain of what society thinks motherhood should be. And I don't know why it is. I don't know why fathers are encouraged and uplifted and cheered on when they work outside the home, and it's great. They're just parents. But when women are working, we are labeled working mothers. You don't hear the term working fathers. And we're just expected to do all the things. And we internalize those expectations. And that's why we're getting so burned out. And I won't climb on my soapbox today on that particular area, but we're done putting our children first when it means that we have to sacrifice ourselves completely. It's not good. It's not good for anybody. It's really not. If you feel like you have no time for yourself, you have no time for your partner, and it's 100% about your children all the time, or your job, those things are competing. I understand how that works. Trust me. How happy are you? Are you exhausted? It's exhausting, right? So we need to push against that. We need to go against the grain, and we need our child third in this equation. And I think when you start to implement this, you're going to notice that while you may be carving out some time that previously had gone to your children, you're going to find that you are more happy. You are more available emotionally. When you're present, you're really present. You're not somewhere else in your mind. You're not stressed because of the laundry. You're not worried about XYZ. You're going to find that you're more present. I think you're going to find that you're more happy. I think you're going to find more energy for all the things that motherhood throws at us every single day. We're not neglecting our children. We're actually caring for them when we show them that we prioritize ourselves and that they can also learn to grow and prioritize their own care. And our children need to see us happy and fulfilled. And this is where we start. So I want you to take a few moments this week and think about, where can I carve out some time for myself? Have some conversations with your partner. Where can we carve out some time for each other? And honestly, your kids probably won't even notice that you are less available. And I even say that with air quotes, because I don't think you're less available. I think a lot of this time would happen when your children are, probably asleep or not paying attention to what you're doing, at their activities or what have you. But I think it's going to be really impactful. And I really, really encourage you just to find some time to get creative and do whatever it is to make that time for you. So I would love to hear what you've done, how you've implemented this. I would love, if you want, you can tag me on Instagram at Having a Mom Moment. And I'd love to see you putting this into practice. You deserve it. Your partner deserves it. Your kid deserves it. I want to circle back to self again. This podcast is going to be all about you, Mom. Okay, so get used to it. Get used to getting comfortable with talking about yourself and focusing on yourself. Maybe yoga and meditation's not your jam. Maybe you don't even really want to exercise. That's fine. Maybe you want to pursue a hobby. Shannon, I don't know what my hobbies are anymore. I don't even know what I like. I'm completely lost. I get it. Then designate this time just to be creative. What sounds fun? Do you want to color? Color something. Draw something. Oh, I don't really think I want to do that. I'm not a very good artist. Okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to bake some cookies? Do you want to go steal your kid's sidewalk chalk and doodle? Hey, do it. What sounds fun? We have to get our brains back. We have to reclaim them from the mush. I know it's hard to think of anything outside your daily routine. We need to reclaim our creativity. We need to reclaim our brains and our space in our brains for ourselves. So if you don't want to exercise, if you don't want to do meditation, I hear you. That's fine. But what could you do? What sounds fun? I'm not sure. Okay, go take a walk. See what happens. Well, I can't walk. I don't want to do that. Okay, what could you do? Okay, you need to do something. Figure it out. Follow the little breadcrumbs. What sounds exciting? Try it. Oh, I've always wanted to learn to do that. Cool, do it. Okay, and the more you do this, the better you'll become at deciding what you need and what feels good. Thank you so much much for tuning into this episode of the Having a Mom Moment podcast. Please be sure to follow and rate if you love what you're hearing. And come follow me on socials at Having a Mom Moment on Instagram or on Facebook. I'd love to hear from you, so shoot me a message if there's something you particularly loved or something you'd like to hear about on a future episode. So you can message me on either platform or send me an email at havingamamoment@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. In case no one has told you today, you are amazing, you are loved, and I am so proud of the beautiful human that you are. Take care.